So we've got three folks joining us today on our panel. Actually, I'm sorry, four folks joining us today on our panel. We've got Bill Talbert, who's the president and CEO of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and also a distinguished member of our President's Council. So Bill, why don't you wave so everybody can see you? I think you can, there you go, okay. And then we've got Wendy Kalergis, president and CEO of the Greater Miami Hotels and Beaches Association, and another member of our President's Council, and welcome, Wendy. We've got Lee Schrager on, who really needs no introduction. I think everybody in the community knows Lee, but he's the Senior Vice President of Communities and Corporate Social Responsibility at our very own Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. So, and a happy birthday to you, Lee.
Thank you.
And want to thank you for your continued support and all the fundraising you do for us. And then Michael Chang, who's the Dean of our Chaplain School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at FIU. So Michael, welcome. So I think the way we want to kind of kick this off is we're going to ask each of you to go kind of in that order and talk a little bit about, from your perspective, as we're starting to reopen South Florida, right? From where you sit, kind of what does that look like? Give us your unique perspective on that. And then give us a sense on kind of what FIU, how you see FIU helping South Florida and specifically in your area as a resource to help you accomplish that. So we'll go with Bill, then we'll go to Wendy, then we'll go down to Lee, and then finish up with Michael, and then I'm going to turn it over to Sandy. Okay, so Bill, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Pete. I'm glad to be here today. This is day 2 of our reopening. I also want to give a plug for the Dean's Executive Advisory Board. Not only the President's Council are we on, but both Wendy and I serve on the Dean's Executive Advisory Board. So I want to give that a shout out, and maybe he'll keep me on the Executive Advisory Board with the shout out. So
you'll be on there forever.
Thank you, Dean. This is day 78 of Safer at Home, and it's I guess our new normal. But we've got a lot of our partners on. You know, yesterday there were a lot of questions. You know, how did things go on the first day? You know, it's like saying the first play of a football game or of a season. How's it gone? Well, it's a start, and we have a number of hoteliers who are on this call. And, you know, and opening is a good thing. Some have chosen not to open for a variety of reasons. It takes a while to get going and different things. And you might have read yesterday, your Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau had a little staff caravan, 15 or 20 cars of our staff members, and we toured 16 hotels countywide. We welcomed them back. We welcomed them back open. And we started, the first hotel we were at yesterday morning was the Biltmore. I think Mr. T. Gene Prescott is on this call, a devoted, I guess he's on the FIU Foundation. So Gene, thank you for your leadership. His whole management team was out there yesterday morning, and he got us energized for the balance of the day. So that tour ended up about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it was kind of a people-to-people thing. You know, we're all into this technical stuff and all this equipment. We've got all that stuff, but this was an idea of one of our staff members last Friday afternoon. We said, yeah, let's do it. And so we hopped in the cars, and there were some families there with kids, and it was a great time. There were signs, there were horns, there were pom-poms, kind of the old-fashioned high-touch approach, and we certainly felt good. Kind of a people-to-people approach on day 1, so we're excited. So we're in this recovery. We're in the recovery program now. We were in pre-recovery. I think everybody remembers the Miami Eats program. That was we launched that 6 days after the shelter in place, and that's the program that your bureau team put together in a few days. Gave it a name. Had partners, launched it, and had media and restaurants were out. Part of our Miami Eats program, order out and delivery. And your only requirement to participate in that with the Bureau was just to have order out or delivery. And so we started with 320 restaurants. I guess it's 76 days ago. And right now we have about 1,200. Our now recovery, our quote recovery program that's starting right now is under the umbrella of, you see it's on my little name tag there, of MiamiShines.com. So you could just Google Miami Shines or MiamiShines.com. So that umbrella program, which is launched now, is an early launch of Miami Spice. I think everyone is familiar with Miami Spice. This is our 19th year of Miami Spice. I think we started out with something like on Monday, that's Monday being yesterday, with about 88 restaurants, and that's gonna ramp up. We're excited about those opportunities. Remember, $39 for dinner, 3-course dinner, and $25 for a 3-course lunch, and brunch and lunch. So we're excited about that. We are launching this week into markets, obviously the Drive Market. You all hear about the Drive Market. And so we're on social media and a variety.
Bill, we lost you there for a bit.
Yeah, maybe we lost him. Maybe he needs to rejoin. He's kind of he's frozen there. Let's give him another second or two, and then maybe we can, while he gets back on, we can jump to
Wendy.
You know, to Wendy, yeah, who's next on our list.
Do you want
And
me
while
to
we're
start?
waiting for, I guess let's give him one more minute. I want to also, I know we acknowledge Gene Prescott and Richard Brilliant from our board of trustees. Want to, thank them, our foundation board of directors and board of trustees. So I want to thank them for joining us as well. I don't see Bill is back. So yeah, Wendy, why don't we go ahead and give him a chance to get back on, and then maybe we'll just switch it up. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill and I have been together on a lot of webinars, so I'm happy to accommodate when he gets back. So hi everyone. How are you all doing today? It's so good to see you and be part of this webinar. I'm a proud member of the executive board of FIU Chaplin School of Hospitality Management. I actually started, I think I was very involved with Lee for the first Wine and Food Festival on campus, where we did the women's chef's dinner. I remember that well, and that was really great, and had the opportunity to work with Lee at the Intercontinental Miami, and it was a pleasure, and it's just a pleasure to be with all of you today. So what's going on right now? Yesterday the hotels opened, as Bill said, but I will share with you that the downtown Brickell area, where the Essential Lodgers were, the hotels that were open all this time, are still open, and a lot of the other properties are really waiting until July to open. June just didn't seem like it would be a good idea. And then on Miami Beach, we have, we're so happy to have the Fontainebleau, the Eden Rock, and the Lowe's open, as well as some of the other properties. The Marriott brands are open, but a lot of the boutiques are opening slowly. They're going to open, some are opening, I know SBE, there are 3 properties are going to open, like one this week, one next week, one the week after. And then also a lot of them are going to open in July. So I think it's nice that it's kind of slow right now, as you know, and also with what's been taking place over the last few days, everybody's being cautious as well. So I do want to share with you that what's great about Miami, unlike a lot of other cities, because I talked to some of my colleagues across the country, is we were ready and prepared with guidelines, thanks to Mayor Jimenez for organizing the new normal, which you see here, which is on all businesses, restaurants, commercial. I think there's 18 different task force. We were on the hotel task force with a lot of our general managers and a lot of hotel people. So it was really great. Bill was on that with us as well. And the guidelines are, 99% done, but it is a digital It's a digital document, and I tell every day I'm on the phone with our hoteliers. No, don't read what you saw 2 days ago. You got to go back online and see what's updated. And they're very thoughtful. They're very thorough, and they really let us be very involved in that. Miami Beach also was really cooperative. They actually adopted 90% of the same guidelines, and they have a few other guidelines, pertinent to the beach. So we have great, and then you've got the brands that have great guidelines. So the hotels are ready with their policies and procedures, and they're very, very cautious at how quickly they open. Not everything will be open, as you can imagine. I know that you were asking about how hotel capacity, conferences, weddings. That's going to be in 2 days. I'm having a catering panel. Lee, we got to get together and do something next week with conventions. I want to work with you on that. And no, I know they're going to be nervous. I know they're going to be nervous to talk about the wedding floor plan, because everything in catering and meeting space is 50% capacity. So whatever was 300 before is now 150, and with all the social distancing and everything. So, but I think,
is that inside venues? Is that a hotel ballroom, or is it outside on the beach?
This is all, no, I don't think we have any information on the beach yet for you, obviously. But this is all, this is all indoor, the hotel, and if they have like a terrace on the hotel. This is hotel related. Yeah, but that's a very good question. So we are, we're creative, as you know, that our hospitality industry is so creative. And I know the floor plans are getting settled, and there's a lot of neat things happening. It's just going to be different, right? It's going to be different for a while, but we're going to adjust, and we're going to be very responsible. And anyone that's not responsible will not be allowed in the hotel. They have to be responsible and follow the rules. So I wanted to also share with you how much we appreciate FIU. We started from the beginning. I think it was the first week, Dean Chang, where we had our first webinar talking to hoteliers. It was really wonderful. And we've had 7 different webinars on preparing our hotels to open in partnership with FIU, Chaplain School, and the CDB. We really, really appreciate that partnership. I mean, I have a lot more to talk about, but I think we'll keep going, right? You want to keep going and see if is Bill back?
Hello.
There's Bill. Okay. So I think how can FIU help us? How can we help FIU? How can we all help each other? I mean, everybody on this webinar, we can all help each other because we all have different needs and different businesses and different opportunities in the hospitality world, and we're all working together so well. And that's something that we really appreciate. Our hoteliers appreciate it. Our employees appreciate it, and we are delighted. And working with Dean Chang and being on the council has been very, very positive for us. And we look forward to going through some challenging times, as we know, but some exciting times as well. So thank you.
Okay.
Everyone.
Great, Wendy. So Bill, I know you're back, so I'm going to call on you again. I was on mute accidentally there. So Bill, you want to kind of, now that you're back, kind of jump back into what you were talking about and kind of build on what Wendy's just covered, because I know you got to hear the last part of what she was talking about. Bill, you may be on mute.
I think
You're
he's
still
frozen.
there, Bill?
I think he's frozen.
Okay. All right. Well, then I think what we'll do is we'll jump to Lee. I know you're not muted because I hear you.
Muted. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Wendy. Good to see you, Michael, everyone, Bill. Thank you. We really considered ourselves very lucky with the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, which took place the last weekend in February. Only one time over that weekend, I remember being in the green room and behind the culinary demo stages, and somebody said to me, what would have happened if COVID had affected us? I said, well, we really didn't think about it. COVID only came into really the talks around I don't even know that we had that conversation with the team. I think it was, we were hearing about COVID, but we really weren't paying that much attention to it. Whether we didn't believe it, whether we didn't think it would ever affect us, I don't know. But we were the last big festival, not only wine and food festival, probably the last big event in this country. And we were very fortunate to have a record year like we had. And I've been saying that not only was the South Beach the last one, but we're hoping that the New York City Wine and Food Festival that we do every year for the last 12 or 13 years in New York, which raises money for the hunger, for the Food Bank of New York and for No Kid Hungry, we're hoping that we are the first back there. So we are anxiously waiting for news from the city, from the government, from the officials, finding out what we can do. We are incredibly late in the sense of New York. By now, the website would be up, hundreds of chefs would already be confirmed, and we haven't even started our planning. But I am very, very committed not to canceling New York because almost every other wine and food event after South Beach has canceled. The LA Wine and Food Festival, Charleston, the Atlanta Wine and Food Festival, Pebble Beach Wine and Food Festival, Santa Fe. And I'm really concerned for those people that they will not be back. It's very hard to, you know, bring it back. It's hard to pay the staff. And, you know, so no matter what we're doing in New York, and as we've been saying, in some way, shape, or form, we will be back. We're a little more optimistic for South Beach in February, being that we have a few additional months to kind of figure out what is the new norm and how we make it work. But it's a 20th anniversary for the festival in South Beach this year. And we're really hoping to be back in, I can't say bigger than ever. You know, if we can be somewhat, you know, back to normal, we'd like that. But we also want to be realistic and know that that's probably not the case. And what that means, we really don't know yet. Because the majority of our events are outdoors, we're hoping that it might be a little more, people might be a little more open to coming to events that are outdoors. You know, what I've said all along is people have short memories and people are very anxious to start getting out there. We don't want to do anything that's not going to be safe, and obviously we wouldn't begin to do anything that is not going to be approved, but we're hoping that between short memories and by putting lots of things into place, you know, we'll be restricting our capacities. So where an event like the Burger Bash, a signature event of ours, or Best of the Best that we do every year at the Fontainebleau, where those capacities were several thousand people, we're actually thinking about doing 2 sessions. So something like the Burger Bash, which probably has 3,000 or 4,000 people attending it, we're looking at starting it a little earlier and selling tickets for an early session, let's say 6 to 8 p.m., giving an hour to clean out the tent and kind of refresh everything, and having a late night session from 9 to 11. With the same existing restaurants, but obviously a consumer would just buy tickets for a 2-hour period, which truthfully is probably enough time to enjoy it, especially if we had the same number of chefs participating, but had less than half the amount of crowd. So we're pretty hopeful that things like that will, you know, will stay, that we can keep it going. Because it's our 20th year, we were planning on doing a big concert on the beach this year with a big headline act, and we just don't know. I mean, we're afraid to sign contracts. We're afraid to commit until we really know what we can do. There'll be smaller events. You know, we always do 30 or 40 smaller dinners every year, and we'll probably still continue to do those. But rather than buy out an entire restaurant and close them down, maybe we'll just buy out tables in restaurants. So you could buy a table of 10 at a restaurant. And so we'll have a bunch of smaller dinners going on, and some of our mid-size events like brunches that we do, hopefully we'll be okay with that. And again, what we don't want to do is start planning now. We're planning on being back in both New York and South Beach. We don't want to exactly say what it's going to be because we don't want to have to go back and change things. One thing that we've learned is we were really concerned about sponsors, but it seems like a lot of sponsors are going to have the dollars to support festivals like ours. You know, basically they stopped spending money in March, and they probably will not be spending it until the fall. So we've had people reaching out to us, you know, major sponsors like Heineken and BMW, basically ready to sign contracts with us. which has been very encouraging because they have all these dollars, and in some cases, people like Heineken, and wine and spirits business, fortunately, have been very good. So we're not as concerned about sponsors as we are about really what we'll be able to do. Are people going to travel into the festival like they have in the past? We're pretty confident that for the first time ever, we may not have an airline partner. American Airlines has been our partner for many years now, and very clearly whether they're going to have the dollars to support us this year is very concerning for us and for them. So I think that we probably will not be having as many chefs come in from out of town as we used to. But when we started the festival 20 years ago, events like the Best of the Best, it was 80% of the chefs participating at that event were out of town chefs and 20% were local. But now, truthfully, we have so many great chefs that we may not have to bring in as many out of town chefs. And, we also want to be cautious of pulling chefs out of their restaurants who have been closed for months. And a lot of them want to be there on site at their own restaurants just to build their business back up. So, I'd love to say that we know what we're doing. I am saying that I'm confident that we will be back in both cities. I'm confident that we will produce festivals that are exciting, that are interesting, but they're going to be different. They're not going to look the same. They're not going to feel the same, but in some ways they'll be better and in some ways they'll be different. And, I think that consumers are going to be very anxious by February, the end of February, to get out of the house and do things. And I think as long as we're being cautious as to numbers, as to the cleanliness and sanitation rules and having cleaning stations all over. I mean, it's hard to do a festival, a wine and food festival, wearing a mask. Even with those masks we were selling this weekend at my bake sale, where you lift up a lid and eat, it's just not as convenient. But I'm concerned that if we don't come back this year, that will be like a lot of other festivals and a lot of other big events that will that may fall by the wayside. I'm curious, do we know if Art Basel is going to be back in December? Have they?
Yes, yes.
Well, that's going to be a very good sign, and that's great.
Yes.
Art Basel and South Beach started the same years, and they are great partners and great friends of ours. And I think watching what they do is going to, they're in early December, so it will give us, almost 3 months to kind of look what worked well for them and, change it around to work well for us. I think probably we'll see in Art Basel is that some of the events will not be, kind of all those ancillary events around town. The parties may not be back in the same way. It's kind of become bigger than the fair itself, all these ancillary parties. But again, I think it's going to be a learning experience every day. I'm on a call with different committees and in different states, listening to what they're doing to get everything open. But I think the city of Miami and Miami Beach have always been the greatest partners to the university and the festival, which are the same, the festival and the university. But I think we're going to be looking for the city, and I think we'll need the support of the city more than ever, because I think it's important to the city that events like Art Basel and the festival and the boat show come back here. I think that's going to be really important, not only to fill hotel rooms like we always do, but just to reinforce that Miami and Miami Beach is back in business and doing the right thing. So we're going to be watching, we're going to be listening. We don't need to lead this, but we want to be part of it. And I think that, we had no plans when we started the festival 20 years ago. We didn't have a 5-year plan of what we were going to do. We had no idea that it would grow into what it did today, the largest wine and food event in the country. But moving forward, we are going to have plans about what we can do. But like I said earlier, we're probably going to be looking at what other people are doing right before us and kind of adjusting and moving along, making changes as we see fit. In the sense of how we work with the university, I don't feel there's a difference between the university and the festival. I mean, the festival is FIU and FIU is the festival. Everyone who works for me is a festival employee. Even at Southern Glazer's new Wynwood venue that we just moved into right before all this started. We opened up here in February, Wednesday night of the festival. We actually did our first dinner here, honoring the Bacardi family for their generous gift to FIU, and that was the last dinner we've done here. But even at the Wynwood venue, all the employees who work in the festival on my team are housed here and they're all FIU employees. So without FIU, there would be no festival. And not only from their employees who work on my team, but from the student ambassadors and the student volunteers and from Michael Chang and the instructors at the university. So we don't view them as, they're partners of ours in the festival. So I think that's how we look at it every day. And without them, there would be no festival. So we're appreciative of that partnership here and a long time partnership that Southern Glazers has with FIU going back to the early days of when we built the Southern Wine and Spirits Beverage Management Center there, which I guess is going back probably 23, 24 years already. So it's a partnership that we know will continue for many years, and it will not be the same. It will be different, but hopefully down the road it will be better. So happy to answer any questions anybody has. I hope I answered some of your questions. I wish I had answers. For someone who likes to have answers, I don't have the answers this time, but as soon as they're available, we'll have the answers and know the direction. Thank you, guys.
Pete, we can't hear you. We cannot hear you, Pete.
Oh, I keep muting myself because we're supposed to. And then so thanks, Lee. So I think the Q&A session is going to be in a bit later, but Bill, I know you're back on. You're on mute right now, but you were unmuted. So do you want to, let's try this again. You want to kind of pick up where you left off? You're talking about Miami Shines and
Yeah,
a couple of other points.
Yeah, just quickly, and never plug in Zoom to a fax machine. So I guess that's my problem.
Who has a fax machine?
Fax machine? What is that?
Remember, I check out. Lee likes that.
William Ramirez has a fax machine, right?
Yeah, there you go. We're talking about big events. I mean, we have, aren't we lucky? It was February 2nd. We had our 11th Super Bowl.
Wow.
Aren't we glad it was the previous month, not the post month? We have scheduled the college football championship January 11th of 2021. And I'm on that host committee. And, I guess it all depends on whether there's a college football season. So we're on that. Down the road, we've got World Cup. We're back in the convention business. We have a reimagined Miami Beach Convention Center. It's state of the art. Art Basel's coming back. We have a 6-acre public park across from it and an approved 800 room headquarter hotel. This whole issue of social distancing and whether you could have conventions again. Think about it. What better place to have social distancing than a 1 million square foot building? That's made for social distancing. So, we have meetings that are still on the books. We have some meetings that have been postponed, and we have people in town right now looking to book meetings in hotels and the convention center. So that is not gone. I'll use Lee's words. It's different. Everything's going to be different. Whether it's going to be a hotel, a restaurant, a church, a theater, convention center, every space, an airliner, an airport. So it's all this new normal. Obviously, one thing we know, there will be a vaccine, and we'll move off of this. We just don't know how long. So this is day 2 in our recovery. We're advertising, and we've got social media in the drive market. People are going to be driving here. People want to have vacations. They will have vacations. We've seen this in the past. We've seen it in the past. Kind of the last thing that goes is that vacation. So we're going to be in the drive market very aggressively. We see there's pent-up demand for that. Some of our research from last year shows there's a lot of interest in Florida in driving to Miami, particularly to have a vacation. Our partnership with FIU, it's critical. Once again, as part of the Dean's Executive Advisory Board, we partner with FIU for scholarship for local kids. Scholarships for local kids. That's very important in hospitality. So that program will continue and it will prosper. And a shout out to Dean Chang and Lee for your relief program. That was the first one. Wendy's right. You got yours was the first call when this started. So bravo to you, Lee, and to FIU for that program, which got to be very robust, very needed, and very successful. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, great.
Oh, also, let me give a plug to Lee. And now that I think about it, look at his beautiful picture here. Lee was one of our first stars in our Miami Shines promotions, right, Lee?
I was, thank you. Thank you.
I think you
Slim
waved
pickings,
your
but
fee.
thank you.
No, you waved your fee, I heard, for that.
Yeah, my normal appearance fee, that's correct, right?
Yeah, there you go. But it's all of us. It's all about partnerships, all about working together, taking this piece and that piece. This community has a very successful history in dealing with disasters, whether it's 9/11, Zika, 4 hurricanes, lots of things. We know how to do this, and other places are still trying to figure out what in the world do we do? So it's these partnerships that all work. Well, they evolve, and this is day 2. I keep counting on everything, but it took me 111 days to get a haircut. So we're excited about putting customers in the hotels, in the restaurants. A shout out to all our government partners for their new normal standards that has as much input from the industry as the medical folks. It's a total equal, and I don't think there's not anything in the rules that would keep any hotel from opening. There's nothing in there to keep any hotel from opening. So, tan, rested, and ready. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Bill. All right, so Michael, let's turn over to Michael. Michael Chang, Dean of our hospitality school. Michael, you want to tell us a little bit more about what you're doing in terms of educating our students and kind of preparing them for this, for what you're doing for the fall, and also kind of how this relates to how tying your students to these other programs that we just heard about.
Sure.
Michael?
You, Pete. Thank you.
Sure.
So good afternoon all, and thank you again for inviting me to join this panel, especially with these legends. And I want to thank Bill, Wendy, and Lee for all their leadership and support to our community, our FIU, and the school through the years. So as you know, FIU is the anchor institution in South Florida. And for almost 50 years, our curriculum at the Chaplain School has always been tightly integrated with the needs of the hospitality and tourism industry. All of our faculty comes to us with industry experience that they bring to the courses that they teach. We also have a very robust advisory board that we listen very closely to, and thank you, Bill and Wendy, for serving on it. To an executive, we also have an executive in residence program that provides us with the latest news and trends for the industry so we can pivot and adjust quickly. And alumni in the industry who are deeply engaged and who are very proud of the alma mater. And that's why we are the #1 hospitality program in the country. Our bachelor's program online has been ranked #1 for the last 5 consecutive years. Our master's online also ranked #2 in the country. And we continue to integrate our students and our faculty with the hospitality industry in all aspects, especially now when our industry has hit the hardest during this pandemic. So like Lee said and Bill, right from the beginning, we knew where to jump into this with Lee and partner on the Hospitality Industry Relief Fund. We also know that recovery of our industry is a collaborative effort. And right away, we reached out to Bill Talbot and his team to partner on the recovery efforts and support the Miami Shines program. And then as Wendy mentioned, we also partner with GmbHA on a series of webinars related to recovery from the shutdown. Since then, we have pivoted our programming for Bacardi Teach, which is our new program that we developed for professional development. That's part of a Bacardi Center of Excellence at the Chaplain School. And we are now offering free e-learning modules on mixology and spirits to anyone who is interested. And this is us leading by example and showing our students that we're not done enough. We have a solid foundation of hospitality, and we continue to support our industry during these very trying times. We have seen that this pandemic has greatly accelerated the adoption of technology, And likewise, we will also accelerate our plans to integrate hospitality technology fully into our curriculum. Last year, I added a new faculty position, Director of Adaptive Learning, to address our learners' need for varying learning styles. And when we had to go remote learning in March, we were ready for it. Our faculty are already hybrid learning trained. Our entire curriculum has been offered online for more than 10 years. So this has helped us to be able to provide a different variety of learning styles in a virtual environment. Going forward, we'll be putting more emphasis on entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity, as we have seen businesses all across the world pivot and transform their core business to takeouts, deliveries, mini markets, contactless, virtual fittings, and even hybrid events such as the New York City Wine Food Festival that Lee just mentioned, where you have the virtual cooking demos that they just did. And we will continue to emphasize the transferable hospitality skills that we've been teaching for decades, which are teamwork, flexibility, customer service, crisis management, multitasking, endurance, attention to detail, time management, and so on. So the future is really about leadership, about planning and organization. And we will continue to support and encourage our students to pursue their passion in hospitality. We do know that today, more than ever, with this shift towards remote work and transforming our work to digital, it is even more important that our leaders understand the importance of reskilling and upskilling their workforce to deliver new models in this post-pandemic era. So now's the time for higher education to focus on the importance of this reskilling and upskilling of existing workforce and prepare our students for this transformed digital world. So what are these skills that are needed? I will recommend concentrating on 4 primary skills, starting with expanding their abilities to operate in this fully digital environment. So building the technical awareness skills to include data visualization, applied machine learning, and advanced analytics. And then I also think we have to make sure that they develop the cognitive skills to ensure that they can function successfully in an atmosphere of increased autonomy as a result of working remotely. So it takes a lot of discipline to get through the workday at home, especially if you have children or pets. So problem solving, creativity, innovation, project management, those kind of skills are going to be very important. And then thirdly, the hospitality is a people business. So we build these connections typically and relationships in person. Now we need to figure out how to continue building and maintaining these relationships digitally. So even something as simple as just supervising your employees remotely, organizing virtual get-togethers on Zoom. Do you have a camera on during Zoom calls? What do you call on people? All this stuff needs to be considered. So the main thing here is to continue to strengthen the social and emotional skills to ensure effective collaboration digitally. And then lastly, flexibility and ability to pivot and thrive is very crucial during this time. So building our students' self-awareness, their self-confidence, and self-reliance so they can use these new experiences that they're encountering during an evolving situation as a source of learning. So in summary, Chaplin School, we've always been nimble and fast, and now more than ever, this is even more necessary for us to continue to be leaders in hospitality education.
Great, thank you, Michael. So I think we're done with our kind of initial section. We're moving over to the Q&A session. So Sandy, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of cover the questions that we have from everybody who's listening in. Sandy?
So thank you and good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank Bill, Wendy, Lee, and Michael for their insights and bringing us up to date in terms of how our community is moving along, especially in this area. I also want to send all of you a virtual hug. Miss you all. It's good to see you in camera. So, and also I want to thank you again for all your support and everything that you do for our institution. A special hello also to my 2 good friends, Gene Prescott. As you know, he is a new board trustee member, and so he's my boss. And also to Richard Brilliant. It's good to see you, Richard. I'm so glad that you're joining us, and maybe later on, you can give us a quick update in terms of the cruise market and what's going on. So I look forward to hearing from you. With that, I know that we have a number of people that would like to ask some questions. We're going to have about 15 minutes, allow 15 minutes for questions. And you can do it two ways. You can actually put your question in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can call you. We could call on you. And with that, I do have a couple of questions already here for the panel. I'm going to start with Bill. Bill, do you have any guesstimates about how the summer visiting folks will be? What do you think are the numbers that will be visiting our area?
There's no roadmap for this. We're going to get as many folks. I mean, we've been closed for 3 months. We're just reopening. And once again, we do know there's pent-up demand for travel to Miami and Miami Beach. What that's going to mean this summer, whatever I said to you would be wrong. So all I know is we're working day and night with the marketing tools and the resources we have and the partnerships we have to concentrate on that drive market. That's going to be summer business for us. And with all the relaunch of Miami Spice, ultimately Miami Spa, under the Miami Shines logo, but it's I'm not good at predicting those things. All I know is we're working day and night to make that number as high as possible, because people want to come to Miami and Miami Beach because it's Miami and Miami Beach.
Super, thank you. This one is for Wendy. Are there any programs to start getting local people to actually go and make reservations at local hotels?
Well, and I think this is also for Bill to answer as well, but I know a lot of the hotels are definitely, they're already promoting staycations in their properties and to book directly with the hotel, which I think is always great. It's always great when they book directly, but then also, of course, what Bill's reference to staycations, to drive-ins, it's really going to be all about that. And it's summer, you know, we're in summer, so it's a better time to open cautiously and slowly as well.
Also, look at the, thank you, Wendy, for teeing this one up. If you look at the MiamiShines.com website, there are hotel offers there already. So that's one place to go and see what those offers are.
You're breaking. We cannot listen to you.
Okay, someone needs to be on mute.
Houston? No. Something I said?
No, we're
Could
good.
be,
We're
could
good.
be,
They
Bill.
muted themselves. They're good.
Somebody
going.
doesn't want me talking. But that website has hotel offers under the Miami Shines umbrella. And just like in the past during 9/11, we had vacation in your own backyard, or, you know, we have some of the finest resorts in the world right here in Miami-Dade County. The finest resorts. So
And great rates, great rates.
vacation in your own backyard, and really, and by the way, over the years, we've gotten better and better and better. Look at the brands, look at the product that's out there, whether it's the boutiques or the big boxes, and it's all over this community at all price points, 5-star and others. So that's where, you know, we did this after 9/11. I remember doing it. We jumped and we actually stayed at hotels back then, a long time ago. And so we're going to get back doing that. But that, I think everybody's going to do that, whether they're from the mainland, they go to the beach, or the beach, they go to the mainland. Everybody wants to get out. Remember, this is 78 days. You know, I took my car out yesterday for this caravan of tours to the hotels, and my air conditioning did not work because the car hasn't been started in 77 days. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I rolled down the windows and looked like it wasn't hot. So, but it's the new normal, but Miami shines.
Bill, I would add that your Miami Shines program is genius. I have not seen anybody else, any other cities doing this. And it's just, you know, because when I talk to my friends back home in Malaysia about coming here to study and they go, Florida, that's for vacationers. I go, I know, I love living here and working here. So it absolutely is right. People want to come to Florida.
Thank you, you're very kind. But once again, as I said earlier, the team we have in place is a team we've had in place for a while. And we've handled these crises and we know how to do this. And others are still trying to figure it out. There's nothing in the book. Some of it's just instinctive. And we have very creative people and created some stuff in days that sometimes other places, or maybe us in regular times, would have taken weeks or months. So thank you, Dean, for those nice comments. And just, if you could put that in writing, I'd appreciate it.
I will.
Okay, this one is for Lee. Will there be a Zoom call like this one for event creators? Lee, you're on mute.
I don't know how to unmute myself.
No, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. There should be. I know there's one going on in New York City that my team is on there, and we should probably get with the VCA and all the people that are funded from events taking place in the beach, and with Michael Spring through the city. And Wendy, you should probably coordinate that. You should add that to Wendy's list.
I'll organize that. That would be great.
No, we should definitely have that. And I know there's another question out there, Sandy, about interns
Yes.
Or students this summer. And I think it's, you know, I had a nephew and a niece graduating from college this last week, and it's concerning times to be looking for a job. I think summer internships are going to be very, very tight. You know, companies like Southern, where I'd normally have a lot of interns in the summer, we're not allowing them in the office this summer. So either it's virtual or we're not doing it. And it's really unfortunate because, you know, oftentimes some of the best, newest ideas we get come from interns, and it's a great energy to have around the office. So we're going to miss them this summer, but hopefully by the fall, we'll be back using interns, not only from the university, but all throughout South Florida. Michael,
do you want to add to that in terms of our interns and what we're doing with them?
So when the pandemic first happened, you know, our interns' first concern was, can they still graduate? And because they all have an internship requirement. So of course we say, yes, we will work with you. Part of the thing about our program is that we require them to have 1,000 hours of work experience and then 300 hours of management experience as part of the internship. And many of them are already working in the industry. So they have been working part-time or sometimes full-time while going to school part-time. So all we did was just swap those hours around and they were able to meet the graduation. I know from our director of career services, she has been fielding calls and emails too regarding opportunities in different areas. So we've been sharing that out widely with all of our students and graduates who are looking for internships. And like I said earlier, the skill set that we teach, you know, the whole hospitality experience, it is transferable. Everybody is looking for the enhanced customer experience today in this digital world. So if you cannot do it face-to-face, how do you take what you know as the hospitality experience and offer it digitally? And that's where I think, like Lee said, our interns, this generation, are very creative, and they can come up with great solutions.
Thank you. This one is for Wendy and also for Jean. What are you anticipating for the 4th of July to look like?
I think the fireworks are canceled. No, are they? That's what I'm hearing.
Jean, are you on? Maybe not. We might have lost them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure City of Miami, Bill, do you know? I think the fireworks are canceled.
Yeah, I think the beach took action on that last week. I mean, I think they're going to postpone it for a year. We don't cancel anything, we postpone, so, but it might be a whole year.
And then City of Miami as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, they did have the fireworks the other night. I guess, Saturday night, and
Yeah, 8 minutes.
yeah, but it's, I mean, it gets people together, but I don't know that you're gonna see fireworks this year. It's different fireworks, different fireworks.
Okay, this one is,
Although, if you look out at night on the firework, we've always done this from our balconies, there seemed to be like 10 fireworks countywide. I mean, there was Key Biscayne, there was Coconut Grove, there was downtown Miami. So I'm gonna guess, just remember, I'm not good at predicting that someplace there's gonna be some fireworks. Might be Lee's backyard, but there'll be fireworks.
Drive-in, right?
this one is actually for Lee. Would you tell us a little bit about your efforts as you were assisting the restaurants and your now famous bake sales? How'd you do on that?
Well, probably the last weekend in March, which was 2 weeks into the pandemic, I had a phone call on a Saturday morning with around 22 to 25 chefs in South Florida, all of them who I have relationships with. I kind of emailed people the day before, and I asked them, what was most concerning to them and what, was keeping them awake at nighttime. And the response unanimously was that they were concerned about their employees, keeping their employees paid, keeping their benefits paid, and how could we, what could I do, or what could the festival do, or Southern Glazers or FIU do? And, I said, give me a few days and I'll get back to you. And, we decided to launch the Hospitality Industry Relief Fund right then and there. I called Michael Chang, I think Monday, maybe even over the weekend.
Sunday.
He agreed to let us take $500,000 of the proceeds that from the festival last year, from last February, and we took $500,000 out of the proceeds and started an industry relief fund that was solely administered by FIU. And we went to Bacardi, and Bacardi gave us $250,000, and we went to Badia Spices, and they gave us $250,000, and the Estebans and Pitbull and Diageo and a lot of different vendors that Southern does business with. And because of those efforts, we raised over $1,600,000. And the best part about that is that there was an application process that was housed on the South Beach Wine and Food Festival website. And it was a very, very quick process. People applied, you received confirmation immediately. We didn't leave people, frustrated not to hear back from us. We replied immediately that we were reviewing it. Within 2 days, we confirmed what type of funding we would be able to do. And within a week from that, people received the check. So really, it was
awesome.
less than a 9-day process. And, having dealt with the university for 20 years, normally it takes 9 weeks. So it just goes to show you that, what could be done in 9 weeks was done in 9 days. And Michael Chang really, with the support of the president of the university, was very supportive. And to date, we've awarded over $1.6 million, and all to South Florida restaurants and bars. And the bake sale was an idea that I had, once we had raised quite a bit of money from the relief fund, really to keep the relief fund relevant, but more importantly, to work with local restaurants who, truthfully needed to make some money. And, we didn't ask anyone to donate the food. Some restaurants did donate the food, but most every restaurant, we paid for the food. And we started the bake sale at my house in Coral Gables about 6 weeks ago, or exactly 6 weeks ago, with just one vendor. We did Night Owl cookies. We knew how popular they would be. They literally sold out before we even officially opened. There was so much traffic on the street. We had to open up the street and at around 11:45, and by 12 o'clock when we opened, we were already gone. And from that one vendor, we ended up with 10 vendors in the end. This weekend, we had everything from dim sum to tacos to Hai Vong brownies to Zach the Baker participated, Salty Donut participated. And every week at the house, we had 9 or 10 vendors outside, and we paid them all. We sold everything for $25 each. And Then the city of Coral Gables tried to shut us down. There was a citation in my house the second week. And I called the city manager and I said, listen, you can close us down, but if you think you're going to get bad press from the neighbors for the noise or the traffic, I said, you're going to get national press if you shut us down. And they did not shut us down, actually. They helped us with security every week. We had police on site every week helping move the traffic along. And we ended the bake sale this past Sunday with a sellout bake sale. And we really ended it now that restaurants were beginning to open. We didn't want to take away any of that business from them. We wanted to encourage people, to support the restaurants now that they were opening. Although we've had hundreds of requests from people to do it in other parts of town or to do it once a month, and we may consider something. But we were really happy that not only were we able to keep the fund very relevant, but to give back to the culinary community and to award over $1.5 million out there, for, in the 6 weeks that we were doing it.
That is awesome. Congratulations. That it's a great effort. A lot of people worked on all of this, and I myself had the opportunity to go by and buy some things good for the diet. But we do thank you, Lee, for your efforts, and everybody. With that, there's just one more question. How can we help? Who in the panel would like to, how can we help?
Money.
Okay.
Who's asking that?
I think, scholarships for, I went to college because of a scholarship. So I think anytime you can, particularly local kids, scholarships, once again, I'm here because of that. And I always go back to that. That gave me the shot, and, we took it from there. But scholarships are always well taken. And also these graduate programs are extraordinary. Distinguish yourself from the competition. Here we have the top school, and those graduate programs are priceless for kids.
Right.
Wendy, we can't hear you. You're muted. You're mute. Still muted.
She's only done 100 of these.
You're muted. We can't hear you. Okay. In the meantime, I will mention the following. We have actually, since you did talk about scholarships and needs, we do have about 2,300 students that unfortunately do not qualify for the CARES Act dollars that we have received. And by the way, those dollars are almost completely, we have given them out completely with just a little bit more money that we're holding. But there are 2,300 students that cannot be assisted by those dollars. And we are in dire need because a lot of those students are seniors. And if we don't help them, they will not be able to actually graduate. There are also some international students as well, and others. So, anything that we can put together and help these students would definitely help not only the students, but also our community and the university. So I thought that was important to put a plug in there. And I know the dean is also doing additional fundraising for those students that he has that are specifically from hospitality.
Yeah.
So,
and like Sandy said, we do have students who didn't qualify for CARES, and primarily international DACA students or online students. So your support is greatly appreciated. And regarding how can you help, I would also say, Florida, South Florida, and we are all in the hospitality industry, and we all have a passion and we believe in hospitality. So definitely let's support our industry let's show our students and our graduates, alumni, that we are alive and kicking. We're not down on our backs. That let's go out there and eat, travel, enjoy the food, the weather. Let's bring it back. So kudos again to all of you, to my panel members, Bill for your Mind Me Shines program, Lee for all the fundraising that you've been doing to help with the relief program, Wendy for all your support guiding the Hotel Association and the webinars. So thank you so much.
Great.
I'm going to turn it over to Pete now. Thank you, everyone.
We're well over. I let you kind of handle the question, Sandy, and you went over. So I think we got to really think about Sandy ask questions again. Anyway, no, thank you to all the panelists. Wendy, Bill, Michael, Lee. Phenomenal session. We had about 140 to 150 folks here today. I think based on the comments, a lot of value. Want to just remind people that you're going to get a survey. First of all, we recorded this, so you're going to get a link of the recording if you'd like to share it with anybody. We're also going to send you a survey. You'll get a survey from us on this, so please kind of fill that out and give us a sense on what you'd like to hear on a going forward basis. We're going to continue doing these as long as there's interest, and as long as we may just continue them even in a, even as we return back to work, we'll likely still continue these virtual events, because what we're finding is people like to connect and they're used to connecting virtually now. So I think this will be something that hopefully will be a remainder of our time, isolated. And then I want to just remind everyone, our next session is June 25th, which is going to be around the repopulation of FIU. So what are we going to do in the fall? We've got Pat Bosch, a partner from Wilkins and Lee, and we've got Amy Aiken, FIU Emergency Management. So you're going to get the FIU side and kind of the commercial side of that. So we hope you'll all be able to join us at 2 p.m. on June 25th. Again, on behalf of Sandy and everybody else in the President's Council, thank you all for attending. Shout out to my President's Council members, and look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.